Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of The Growth Project. My name is Sherise Thomas, and as you know here, I am your host. If you're a new listener, I just want to say a warm welcome to you. Something brought you to my page, and whatever that something was, I am so grateful for it. And to all the reoccurring listeners, something has kept you here and I am very grateful for that, and I recognize that, I see that, and I appreciate that. So I just wanted to come on here and do a kind of another mini rant on perfectionism, just because a lot of you have been talking about that lately with me. And like I always say, it's just so crazy to me that we don't speak about this more, or that I'm not seeing I'm seeing more of the content around it right now, but it's still such a huge thing that I feel like we don't just come out and say hey, if you're feeling like this, it's totally effing normal, because we kind of screwed you up with all of this weird advertising and and weird messaging, right, that we've been experimenting on you, and now it has created this tendency that most of you have. Nobody's coming out to say something like that. I don't think anytime soon. So I guess I'm gonna have to talk about it a little bit more so that more people are aware of it. But I have been talking about perfectionism lately, and I was kind of inspired to just come on here and make this podcast. And I have absolutely no notes. I know what I want to say, but I don't know how I'm gonna say it. I don't know how this is gonna sound, but I really want to show and prove to you guys that at the end of the day, perfectionism isn't all that matters. And if I'm gonna talk the talk, I'm gonna walk the walk too. So this may be a very imperfect podcast, but for all of those who stick around all the way till the end, I hope that the way that you think that you need everything to be perfectly before starting something or before doing anything, or you just need to show up in this perfect way, I hope that your thoughts on that change by the end of this podcast, or that at least you start asking some questions about why you actually feel like that, and why and what you can do to feel better, or just feel more confident in yourself, so that you don't feel that you need to be perfect. So like I said, no notes or anything, but I felt super inspired to come on here and just off the dome. this could be a good name, but perfectionism. So I recently I talked a little bit more about us always overthinking and feeling that we need something to be perfect, and that we just need to know more, right? We just need to know more. We just need to research more. We just need to figure it out more. We're never fully ready. And I see that a lot. Now, obviously, the more that I'm talking to people, they'll have everything that they'll need to start, but then they're just stuck. But it's how are you stuck if you know exactly what it is that you need to do? It's just that you're not doing it. A lot of the times that really does tie into the whole perfectionism issue. Okay, so I put on my story the other day a little bit about why writing down things is just so important to me, and how it really helped me with my overthinking and my perfectionist tendencies as well. So, I wrote a little bit about how, I was always constantly in this state of overthinking everything, right? I just wanted that thing that I was gonna do to just be so perfect to the point where, it's beyond criticism, right? Where I'm beyond criticism, and that place doesn't doesn't actually exist. The only reason I say that is because not everyone will think like you. It doesn't matter. Well, to me it matters. I think the more that we become awakened and the more that we are aware about things, that we can create a world where people are more understanding of what like we're going through like with each other, and we'll just be, I guess, more understanding and have more understanding on the human nature. So yes, I do hope for that as more of us do become aware, but at the end of the day, there's still people who won't think like you, there's still people who won't have the same beliefs as you, and there's still just some people that are not doing the work and they do not want to become better, and they are just content, or they're actually not, they're like super unhappy, but instead of focusing on the inside and working on that, they're gonna project that on the outside, and they're gonna make everybody else feel like shit and crap. And sadly, you'll most likely come across these people once or twice or whatever. So to think that you can be just in this space beyond reproach or beyond criticism or beyond all of that, it's just such a waste of like what you really can do and offer if you were to just like release that belief that you need to be beyond criticism. Because what we're really scared of here is that perfectionism is this sort of reaction to like the fear of being judged, of having people talk about us, fearing that we will go after our heart's desire, do that thing, put ourselves on the line, tell somebody something true about our fucking selves, and it will all have been for nothing, and that people will laugh at us and they will judge us, and we will just feel ashamed and embarrassed and disappointed and all of that. And we do not want to feel those things. We do not want to feel those things. A lot of us have felt these things when we were really, really younger, and a part of our shadow, a part of our ego was to push those things away and to keep us in comfort zones where we excel, or where we're doing good, or where we think we're safe. And that's when the problem begins, guys. That's when the problem begins, because when we believe we're safe, when we believe that we're in a spot where, okay, things are not like amazing or great, but they're like good, right? They're okay, but you're not growing. And when you reach that point where you're not growing anymore, that's when it becomes hard. And that's when it hit me, and that's when I started noticing all my perfectionist tendencies, and that's when I started noticing that I was holding myself back, and that I was self-sabotaging, and that I was like hitting this glass ceiling because I was refusing to change, and refusing to change certain things about myself, and just refusing to accept certain things about myself, and just refusing to or like not even refusing, but also just like pushing away those feelings of ever trying something new and then being like not on top. So hopefully this is making some sort of sense to you guys. Another example, or another way that I know that this has showed up for me, and it shows up for a lot of people. I am assuming that I speak more to girls here. I don't know how many guys listen to my podcast. I know a couple of guys do, because they have wrote me about it. So I think I have guys on here. So, but I feel like majority, it is girls, it is women that are listening to me. So this how this showed up for me in my life. So a lot of perfectionists, when we were younger, right, we were really praised. We were really praised for our intellect. So for me, I was very good at school. I always ended up in the top 3 of my class, like kind of like no matter what. I was usually on top in that sense, and I used to be really praised for that, or that was a thing that a lot of adults around me really looked like, they were not inspired by it, but they were like, okay, that, like, I just had the feeling like, oh my god, this means something, right? This means something, and everybody will be like, you're smart, you're gonna do something, stay in school, focus on your books, blah blah blah. And then I don't know, somewhere along the way, right, you start having like this sort of like pressure to always perform and always be on top. So I kind of felt like this pressure that I always had to do good, or I always had to be a certain way. And then at the same time, I got praised for being a good kid, a smart kid, all of that. And that led me to really wanting to keep those identities, and really wanting like to keep those like what I thought was positive identities, because I would be really praised for those things, but then I wasn't really praised for like anything else, in the sense like like I could sing and stuff like that would get a little bit of attention, but like everything else I was kind of not ever like praised for it, like my housework or anything like that. So that as well led me to believe that like those things were not as important, but like what was really important was like my intellect and my intelligence and stuff like that. It came to a point where people were like, oh, you're so lucky, you're smart, and all of that. And then I don't know, but at some point that's when like my procrastination started, with like studying and not doing like my homework on time, not studying on time, and just feeling like, oh, I don't really need to study, or I'll just study like right before the test, and then I'll get like 86, or like I'll get like 89 or something like that. And that sometimes, actually, well, in the beginning I was getting good notes by doing that, but slowly and surely, like I started getting in the 80s and started getting a little bit away from the 90s. And the reason why was just because I would, cram, procrastinate, do that shit last minute, be super pumped for the exam, get a good grade, like get a 86, 87. Like, to me, I was like, oh, that's great. Like, that the amount of effort that I put in versus like my note is amazing. Well, not amazing, like I would love to be in the 90s, but I was like, oh, guess what, I didn't even try that hard, right? And I still ended up getting an 80, 86, 87, whatever. I can accept that, because I know, right, if I had really studied hard before, I would have totally gotten a 90, 96, and 97. But the thing is that there's just like all of these things just creates so many different beliefs in our head, and like I said, being praised for those things put me in a spot where I wanted to keep those attributes about myself. I wanted to keep that positive image and that positive identity, or whatever that I thought it was, and that really made me shy away from doing things that I was not on top. Like it pushed me to not do things where I would be a beginner, or be seen as stupid, or being seen as like, dumb, because being smart was such a huge part of my identity, you know what I mean? So it's like I would shy away from doing things where I was not the best, or that I didn't know too much about, just because, like I said, I didn't want to feel like I was stupid or anything like that. And then I know that was a side effect of like my perfectionism, and that like it can come out like different ways for different people, but a lot of the times, like procrastination, not like doing new things, or not doing things where you're not perfect, or where you don't know enough, or you just, because you always feel like you need to be in control. You need to be in control of your image. You need to be in control of how you like, you just need to be in control of a lot of things, and you get into the overthinking, and then because there's just so much mental energy. You're just using so much mental energy trying to project an image or trying to force yourself to comply to some sort of code that you have created, or that someone has created for you, or that, you know, was imprinted on you when you were young, and it is going against your true nature, and it is causing friction, and it is causing you to feel tired, and it is causing you to feel fatigued, and it's causing you to not show up for yourself because you just are so, you know, drained. And I know that, like, when I was the worst with my perfectionism tendencies, I was just paralyzed. I knew all of these things. I knew it in my head. I knew some of these things could work. And that's why, like, honestly, I just love business so much. And I like the way that I'm doing business, because I'm like, if I continue like this, it doesn't matter the metrics. It matters the energy, and it matters the impact. It's the impact that matters the most. And what I'm discovering about business is just making me so excited, because the way that I'm seeing it is like, wow, it's kind of inevitable in a sense, that if you continue doing it, the energy that you're putting in, the impact will just be greater. So anyways, I know I kind of went off a little bit there. But yeah, when I talk to a lot of people, like, they have the strategy, right? They have the plan, they have the strategy, they know everything about how they're gonna do, like, what they're gonna do, how they're gonna do it. They've planned like up to like 3-6 months in their business. They know the solution to every problem that's gonna come up, right? Because that's what we love doing in our brains when we're perfectionists, and when we are overthinkers. You know, we just love planning everything out in our heads and having the perfect scenarios, and then solving the problems, like already imagining and foreseeing, right, the problems that are gonna come up, and then what we're gonna do to solve them, and all of that, right? We love thinking about all of that. But when it comes time to actually do it, then we're like, oh, but you know what, I just need to learn a little bit more. You know, I'm not ready yet. I just need to know a little bit more. I just need to research a little bit more. I just need to figure it out a little bit more. I just need to, you know what? When I get that camera, then everything's going to be ready. My video is going to be high quality, and it's going to have the impact that I want it to have. You know what? When I get the space, I'm just not in the right space right now. And, you know, it's not as pretty. So my room's not as pretty, so like I can't make videos in there, I can't shoot this or whatever. Or we're like, obviously the easiest one, I just don't have the money or the time right now. When I'm gonna have more money and time, I'm gonna do it. This is a little bit true, but you have to be in the right mindset, right? It's not because the time comes that you just know what to do and that you're gonna feel motivated to do it, eh? That's the trick. But and we tell ourselves these things, and the more we tell ourselves these things, you know what we do? We feel good about it, because the moral and ethical thing, the right thing to do, right? The right thing to do would be to research some more, right? And to figure it out some more, and to be sure and more confident. This is what we've been told, and this is a collective belief that we have. The crazy thing about that is that it is not by consuming information and consuming more and more of that information that you actually know if something is true or not. You cannot actually know if something is true or not if you do not feel it, if you do not experience it, and if you do not grasp its full thing. Like it's energy, and you can only grasp that, and you can only feel that in the experience, in the experiencing of. So something that I also said on my story was that wisdom is like a combination of knowledge and experience, knowledge and life experience, knowledge and testing, you know? It's a mixture of that. And then I also added plus intuition, because intuition is part of the body's knowledge and it's part as well of infinite knowledge. So I guess it's still knowledge plus experience, but the knowledge of our intuition is a whole different way of understanding, and it's a whole different way of knowing that is not dependent fully on logic and on the brain. So that to me is what like really wisdom is. And awareness and blah blah blah, but the wisdom is that. And you are not going to get where you want to go if you are planning it in your mind. The reason why I say that is that you're going to want to make it so perfect in your brain. It's like, think about building a castle in your brain, right? You just want to build that castle and you're just going brick by brick. And then before you know it, the contour is done, and now you're just adding like the windows, and then you want to add the stairs. The time that it's going to take you to build the castle in your head will be so long, and it can actually take forever. It can actually be infinity, because the castle will never be perfect, and you will always think, I'm just gonna add one more thing, just this, and it's gonna be perfect. And before you know it, it's 10 years down the road, or 5 years down the road, or 3 years down the road, or whatever, and you still didn't start on your idea yet, or you still didn't do anything on what you said you were gonna do. And the reason you're thinking like, I'm gonna get this so perfect, the castle so perfect in my head, so that when I translate it to real life, right, it's just gonna come out as perfect as that. But the thing is that the whole entire time that you've been thinking about how you're making the castle, you haven't been actually making the castle, right? So guess what? You have not been acquiring the skills and learning actually how to lay a brick on top of another fucking brick. You don't even know how to do any of that. You don't know it. You don't know how to do any of that. So guess what? And this is what I want to tell you guys, because this is really the true time waster. When it comes to actually fucking doing it, you're still going to have to take the time to do it and to start it and to be a beginner at it. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you build the castle in your head. You didn't put a brick on top of a brick in real life. So you still don't know what you're doing. And that is a huge fear that we have as perfectionists. We just think like we need to know more because we're going to be more of an expert, and no one could ever challenge us on like, well, how do you know that, whatever, or that we're just going to be the expert and we're going to know everything, and then we can do the thing. But we cannot know everything unless we put in some action. Doesn't mean you need to do every single thing today, but the more you do, the more you're gonna know. The more you put brick on brick in real life, the closer you get to your castle. So the castle may be built in your head, or the castle may look away in your head, right? As long as you keep putting brick to brick in real life, that castle will come true. Yes, we have the capacity of imagining things before it is in reality, but we shouldn't take that gift that we have and basically use it against ourselves by thinking that like we can imagine the perfect case, like the perfect scenario, because that's just giving way too much credit to our brain, and that's just giving way too much credit to our imagination. We can only imagine, things that we've seen or it's very hard for us to imagine things that we don't understand. So we are very limited in that sense. So really release your brain from that pressure of having to always go so far in the future for you. I literally try to tell myself all the time, like, I do not know what next week looks like. I don't even know what, like, in this crazy times that we're in right now, like, I don't even know what next year can look like, right? And I don't even want my brain to just try to go over there, because we literally don't know. But what I do have control of is my day-to-day, is my right now. And like, I always say this, and I'm gonna repeat it here, but the future is created now, in the now. So if you want something in the future, you have to make a step right now. Because if you don't make the step right now, like, you're not putting yourself to like walk the path to get it, to achieve it. It's like saying, next year I'll be healthier. Great. So what am I going to do now? I'm going to eat crap until next year. Will that make me healthier next year? No, it's actually going to put me in a worse position, right? So stop putting things for in the future. It doesn't actually exist yet, and you don't even know what it's gonna look like, and you don't even know if when you're over there, if you're going to have, you don't even know will be going on in your life. So what you can control is right now. You know how I use affirmations by saying, like, I am becoming something. I am increasing something. I am becoming a healthier person. That way, I know I'm going to fall off a little bit sometimes, but I'm going to get right back on top of it, because I am becoming a healthy person. And becoming implies that there's some effort in there, and that sometimes I'm going to fail and sometimes I'm going to fall, but I'm going to get back up, because I am in the process of becoming a person who is healthy and who prioritizes her health above, you know, the convenience of low vibrational foods and whatnot. So this has been a crazy podcast episode, but I am hoping that you guys are really loving it, and that you guys are resonating with like these little kind of crazy sporadic episodes that I'm doing. They're not always gonna be like this, I'm still wanna do the thing and make sure that the impact is good, and that you guys are getting the tips and the tools and everything that you need to create this for yourself. So I'm gonna have some more structured videos like I had before, but I love coming on like every once in a while and just like ranting or just teaching from the heart. But yeah, don't get paralyzed and try to build the castle in your head, and then before you know it, you're thinking about what type of this you need, what type of that. Like I said, you haven't even laid a brick. You don't even know. You're probably going to lay some brick, and then you're going to find a faster way to make the house, and then you're going to realize that in your head you thought that you needed to use this old thing, but now it's quicker in today's time, or some new technology came out. Like, we don't know everything. We don't have all of that. We don't have that infinite intelligence that just knows where everything is going. And that's why we have to have a little bit of faith and a little bit of trust that we are going to know what we need to know to do the thing that we need to do. But for us to do that, we actually need to start. We need to start small, and we need to build the steps, and we need to gain the experience and gain the knowledge, and most importantly, the confidence, right? The confidence to keep going. And we really do get confidence from acting on our beliefs, and acting on what we feel is true for us, and acting on those things. Imagine putting that amazing strategy that you had in your head, like really believing in it and testing it out, right? And seeing if it works. That's where you gain your real self-confidence, and seeing like that you are, the way you think actually does make sense, and things actually make sense if you do it your way, but you do need to actually do it so that you can gain feedback on what it is that you need to do better, and what it is that you need to change, or what it is that like you can do differently in the future. So it already puts you like in motion, and you already feel like you're one step you're one step up, you're one step further. When you don't do anything and you just try to make it perfectly in your head, you're never like a full step further than the person who is always actually doing it. So that is going to be my episode for today. Chase is behind me. He's snoring. You guys probably hear him, so I'm not gonna let you guys suffer too much. I'm gonna end the video here, but as always, if you guys love this video, and if you love I don't even know why I'm saying video, if you love this podcast, if you love this audio, and you resonate to anything that was in this episode, please share this on your Instagram and tag me and tell me what your thoughts were on this episode, or just tell me if this was fire, if you guys like when I rant like this, when I just speak crazy like this. Let me know as well if talking about my own experiences like that really like has a feeling and an impact in you guys, because at the end of the day, that is what I want to create. I want you guys to get fired up, and I want you guys to believe in yourself and believe that you can do this, and really go behind the things that you want, because the crazy thing is that is why you're here. So it's like we're actually going against our true nature by keeping ourselves so boxed in and so limited. But like I said, I get it. The programming was very, very harsh. And a lot of these things that we're suffering from, it's like side effects of certain things that happened in our childhood, and that happened with the crazy expansion of social media and of the internet age, while we were growing up. A lot of people didn't foresee a lot of these side effects, and I definitely feel like a lot of us, especially in this generation, we really do feel these tendencies a lot harder than maybe even the older generations. But I don't even know. I can only speak for us, but I can see why it's so relevant to us, because we've always just grown up with that perfect shot of like what is perfect and what you should look like and what you should be like, and we just see these perfect moments on social media, and we've grown up with that and thinking that's like what it would be like when we were older or when we were grown, and it's like not the case at all, and our world is slowly crumbling. So I just love how I ended that, and like all is doom, and I'm like supposed to be motivating, right? But yeah, if you guys enjoy any of this, tag me on Instagram, follow me over there, send me some love, send me some good vibes so I can continue doing this and continue feeling inspired to put out this kind of content for you guys, and to put out this kind of truth, and to just help you and help anyone out there who is listening to this and resonate feel a little bit less alone, because we are not alone. There's a lot of us going through the same exact things, and the only reason why we don't know is because we don't take the time to talk about it. We don't want to be vulnerable in that way because we don't want to be hurt. But it's okay. I'm putting myself on the line for you guys. So if you can, send a little bit of love my way, it would actually mean the world. And if you're that person that this just resonated so hard, and you are just ready to change, ready to transform, ready to become a more confident version of yourself, believe in yourself and your dreams and your goals, I do offer a one-on-one container with me, a one-on-one space with me, where we really get to tap into what is your infinite potential and what you are here to create. This is a space that is perfectly curated for you because we really do focus on what you want to create and the way that you want to create it. A lot of times I feel we get really distracted and we get really worried about the way that everyone else is doing something, that we don't take the time to tap into how we want to do it. And when we do it the way that we want to do it, we actually tap into our own creativity and in our own uniqueness as well. And that is the type of space that I have created. That is the type of space that you will enter when you come work with me. I think something that is just as important and just as great is focusing on our now and on our future and what it is that we actually want to create moving forward, and working through all of the limiting beliefs about our past and about our past identities that come up during that period that we're going to be working together. Instead of feeling that like you have to know and understand everything about your trauma or heal everything before you're able to use your insight and your knowledge. That's actually not the case at all. And I really do believe that working on these things while building a better future for yourself is the best way to do it, because you are motivated by your will to change, your will to better yourself, your will to show up in your business, and your will to have a better future, and just like by your drive and your passion for what you're doing. I absolutely think it is the best way to work on yourself, and it is the best way to just, be filled with all of these good like emotions and good feelings and good experiences that we all want to experience in this life. So if you're interested in all of that and gaining like all of the tools for you to be able to fully show up confidently as yourself for your goals and for your future, just head over to my Instagram. Start by just sending a simple DM like, hey, I read your stuff, I listened to your stuff, and I am interested in working with you, and it would be my absolute pleasure. It would be my pleasure. So just head over to @Sherise.fierce and send me that DM. I felt like I have talked way too much, so thank you guys so much for staying with me all the way till here, all through that shameless self promo. So thank you again so much for tuning in, and see you soon.